Hey guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to dye synthetic wigs. So I've gone with this wig, so I have a base color sort of that's similar to what I need. And then I have red synthetic purple dye and red synthetic pink dye. You would have seen that I used both of these in my tutorial on how to dye synthetic fabric. It's much a similar process, but heck, let's make another video. So the first thing you want to do is you want to have a heated dye bath set up. I've got my dye in here already. You then want to have a rinse bath and whichever wig you will be dyeing. It can take multiple attempts to get your dye the right color. This was my first attempt, it was slightly too pink. This was my second attempt. I put purple in the dye but nothing really happened. I then put too much purple in the dye, and then my third attempt was, it looks quite grey on this, I don't know why, but it is still different to the original colour, and that actually worked out perfectly for what I needed. So I'm going to wet my wig first in my little rinse bath. It just helps to get like an even coverage for when you put it in the dye. Water tends to attract other water molecules, so if your wig is completely dry and you chuck it in a wet dye bath, you tend to get quite patchy results. So that applies for dyeing fabric as well. Make sure you always pre-wet. Oh my god, English. Make sure you always pre-wet. Make sure you always pre-wet. Make sure you always pre-wet your materials when you're going to dye them. You then want to take your wig and put it in your dye bath. My dye bath is at a slightly lower temperature than what I would usually dye with. The reason being for this is because I don't want my dye to set into my wig too much. I only want a slight tinge to my wig. So although this looks quite dark now, when I rinse that dye out, not a whole lot of it will have set in the wig, and it will hopefully come out the color I need it. You want to be leaving your wig in your dye bath for however long is required. These two samples were left in for 5 minutes, this sample was left in for 4 minutes, and this sample was left in for 3 minutes. The reason this color is so vibrant though is because I upped the temperature, and I think that completely changed the color of this particular sample. Oops. It's super important to make sure that you're stirring your wig while it's in the water. If you don't stir your wig, you'll end up with uneven dyeing, and obviously that won't look particularly great in the final product. Once your wig has been left in there for long enough, you want to take it out of your dye bath, chuck it in your rinse bath without making a mess. Oops, my bad. And try rinse some of that dye out. You then want to take that, probably with some gloves on, but I'm a terrible cosplayer, so I just do whatever, and rinse that under a tap to get all of that excess dye out. You then want to take your messy wig wet mat and chuck it in a towel so you can get rid of some of that excess water. Wrap him up in there and give him a squiggle. I mean, it's not the nicest, you're going to have to style your wig after, but you know, it's the best way to dry it, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So once you've finished towel drying your wig, you want to get a hairdryer and dry it faster that way if you want to. You can leave it to drip dry if you don't want to have to worry about brushing it out and getting out all those knots, especially if you have a long wig. I highly don't recommend hair drying a long wig because that is going to be a pain in the bum to get all those knots out after. But this is the wig. I'm really happy with that. The only issue I had was there's a spot here that's a little bit brighter than the rest of the wig, and the reason being is I think that bit was touching the bottom of the pot where it was a little bit hotter to produce a more vibrant color. But that's okay, I'm still pretty happy with this. That bit's going to be hidden by a clip anyway, so I don't care. Make sure when you're dyeing a wig though that your wig is actually synthetic. Make sure you check who you're buying it from and the supplier to make sure you can actually put it in hot water, because if it's not a heat resistant wig and you put it in hot water, it is going to slither and melt and become gross, and that is a nightmare, and it will completely destroy your wig. So yeah. Thanks for watching guys, and check out all my other tutorial videos in my YouTube channel. You can check out my Facebook page for all of my completed costumes. You can also support me now on Patreon. I have a dream to create music and cosplay, and that is what I'm going to be doing on there. So yeah, all of those sites are Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon /PikaPQQ. Thanks for watching my tutorial on how to dye synthetic wigs, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Pikapi out.